good, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. Dan Banks, aka DJ Fine, CEO of JTU. We are Jersey Magazine and Jersey Diamonds, and I'm here with the promising future man, Sean Larry.
Yeah.
How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for this opportunity.
Shout out to what's up to Jersey and everybody.
What's up, Jersey? Shout outs to Newark. Shout outs to Brick City, Jersey City, Chilltown.
Let me tell you, man, this man is super multi-talented. He does so many things. We're just going to get to know a little bit about him. So, Mr. Sean, first off, where are you from in Jersey?
Jersey City. Grew up on Bergen, Lexington. Spent some time in New York, back in Inglewood, Teaneck. So I've been all over. You know, my family has roots in all of Jersey and New York City, Harlem. But I consider myself like a Jersey boy.
Jersey boy.
Yeah.
Jersey in the belt. You already know. So, you are a multi-talented young African-American male, and you are also an educator.
Yes.
So you are a principal.
I'm a principal.
And tell me how that all started. Like,
Man.
Do you wake up one day and was like, I'm just gonna go be a principal?
No,
today? Like, how did that all start?
Never actually. That's interesting. So I went to college to become a doctor. You know, like growing up in a Caribbean household, black family. You got Guyanese. Yeah. And so you grow up, you got to be a doctor, you got to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Very, very typical, right? It's never do anything other than what's going to make you money, which is become a doctor. So went to Cornell for undergrad, graduated Cornell, and that was at the time when we were in a real bad recession. Gas prices were like $5-6. Nobody was getting jobs. And so I decided to go into education. I joined an organization called Teach for America, became a teacher in Washington, D.C. I taught Spanish, I taught math, I taught self-contained, emotionally disturbed students, so students with special needs. And after that, I said, you know what, I want to go back home. So I came back here, became a founding teacher, and felt that like my impact was great, with the 200 kids that I taught, but I really wanted to have a bigger impact. Yeah, so became an assistant principal, became a founding principal, and that's all she wrote. And this is year 6 for me.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. And obviously, you have. Your resume speaks for itself at the end of the day when it's all said and done. So what I want to know is how did you get into being a keynote speaker and inspiring the community? Because now you're doing everything for the community.
Yeah.
So like being real community based. Because I feel like we forget about that sometimes. Like bringing it back to showing the young people like that you can make it this way. So like how did your message go into like?
Yeah. So I had a real challenging, bittersweet growing up experience, right? My mother heavily addicted to drugs. My father was a drug dealer, drug smuggler. Not really in any of my brothers and sisters' lives. Not in my life, obviously. My grandmother raised me, and the one thing that we knew we needed to like do was go to school, and she would always emphasize education. And she only has an 8th grade education herself. And I used to write a lot because of all the experiences that we had. I had an aunt who died from AIDS in our house when we were 11. I was in a really bad car accident where my uncle died in my arms. And so growing up, all those experiences, I used to write a lot. I used to do spoken word. I used to perform growing up in church. And I turned all of that stuff into a book that I published in February 22nd, 2012. And since then, my life took off. Months later, I was in Essence Magazine. A couple of months after that, I was being called onto CNN and Roland Martin, and just using my voice as a tool of power and influence and inspiring people. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to stay in the classroom, I'm going to stay in education, and still have these things going on the side. And one, how can I monetize it, right? Because call a spade, we all gotta live. But that's not like why I do the work, right? And so I really thought, I can use my voice and my experience and my life to prove the possible, to be a role model for young black men, for young black kids, and then come back and do it in my own community. Like I'm really big on staying home. Like I'm not trying to move to Atlanta or do it. I want to do it in my community. It feels so good to be walking around and seeing my people, seeing my cousins, seeing friends, seeing people who raised me and them feeling inspired by the things that I do and things that I say in our own community. And so, I'm always about the culture and making sure that we do that.
That's good. Do you have your own foundation?
Not yet.
I'm telling you, it's coming.
Not yet.
I'm just hearing it.
Wow, you made me think though.
Whole foundation.
I like ideas because then I take it and run with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So talk to me about your time management skills, man. Because you definitely have to have just the regular school schedule at the end of the day, and then all the other things you do, the interviews you go to, and the influences in the community work that you do. Like how do you time it? Because a lot of people don't know that being an entrepreneur, being an author, host, everything that you do, educator, the time management, and how about taking time to yourself? How does that all play a part?
So it's hard, and I'm a bad example of it, right? Like I tell my staff members, I tell my friends, like I am a bad example. Like don't follow my path, right? There are 168 hours in a week, and I work about, last time I calculated, 100 of those hours. And it's hard. It's hard. I posted something on Instagram recently, like shout out to all those who work their 9 to 5, and then their 5 to 9. Right. My 5 to 9 is when I leave my school building. I do have my podcast. When I leave my school building, I'm going to be a keynote speaker someplace. I'm traveling to different cities and impacting and influencing different communities all over the world. It's really, really difficult, right? And I think at this point now that I'm entering into my 30s, I think it's now time for me to think more intentionally about where I spend my time and how I keep myself whole. Going to the gym, I run marathons, and so like if I'm not running consistently, I know I'm not in a happy space, and that like all the things that I do to build myself up makes me even stronger to wake up every morning at 4:45, drive from New York City to Newark, lead a school building with over 800 Black and Latino kids and who are growing up like in the hood, in poverty. That's emotionally straining, and I think like the way that I feed myself is just like being positive, spreading positivity, taking 5 minutes in my office to like meditate and pray and like really doing things for me, and that's what makes me work even harder. It gives me the fuel, right, to work even harder. But it's difficult, man. I'm still single. I'm like I can't date. I don't have a lot of time for the things that I really want. I can't see my brothers and sisters often. I can't see my niece and take her to the circus and take her to the park and do all those things. And I try to be as intentional as possible and make the moments that I do have with them really big.
That's awesome. That's very inspirational. Absolutely. Talk to me about adjusting to the culture. Like you're in very different arenas on a regular basis, and I'm sure the language changes, from time to time. So, how are you with adjusting to different areas, and does that stressful too sometimes with adjusting the culture sometimes to be more admirable to that part of it?
So I went through a bunch of different phases, right? Like what I hear you saying is like, how do I code switch? And I teach our students that like, yes, there is a standard of excellence that you have to abide by. So that means you do need to speak a certain way and adapt who you are to the circumstance. That does not mean change who you are. And I think this is a big thing that I really talk about on my podcast a lot. My podcast, Walk in Your Excellence, is all about living unapologetically in your skin and owning who you are and being confident in that, and not feeling like you need to change for anybody. Yes, definitely, like if I'm the way I act at a Jay-Z concert is not how I'm going to act at a Broadway show, right? Like you need to understand that, but you can't lose your own identity and authenticity. And so it was difficult for me when I first started my career. Now that I'm very grounded in my career, and almost to the point where it's like, oh, do I actually need to work? No, I could like quit and like work for myself right now at this point. Thank you, Lord. But I think like now I'm the same Sean. The Sean that you see with my frat brothers on a Saturday night. The Sean is the same Sean that you see.
Same energy.
Same energy at Friday happy hour when I take my staff. Same energy on Monday morning when I say good morning to my over 100 staff members. Same energy when I shut a classroom down or shut an assembly down. Or same energy when I'm dancing in the hallway with my kids, right? Or when I'm coaching my 7 assistant principals. And so I think the key is like always just being yourself and being confident in who you are, which is a long journey, and I'm still on that journey of self-discovery, trying to figure it out. But once you get there, you feel so empowered to just always be yourself, right? Like I have 9 tattoos, right? Like I look like my kids. When I dress down, I have my hot tops on and my fitted, right? And so I bring that same energy when I'm sitting in a boardroom full of white people. I've been the sole black man in a lot of white spaces all my life. And to have both experiences of like growing up in the hood and being black and identifying as someone who has struggled, and then pulling myself out and still being that same person in a white space actually helps them and our country even more to see that yes, there is an asset-based narrative to who we are as black people.
That's awesome. Wow, that was very well said. Oh my goodness. I'm ready to do a keynote speaker with him. That's awesome. So talk to me about this podcast. It's called Walk in Your Excellence. So the title itself speaks for itself. Yeah. But tell me about how you were inspired to begin and start this walk.
It actually started from a place of pain. It launched literally about 3 weeks after my little brother was murdered. And that's always emotional for me to talk about, even just after a year. He just had so much like love and light. Like every time my little brother was around, when we all got together, it was just a beautiful space, laughing, drinking, partying. And he chose a different life path, right? I chose to go to college, and I think all my brothers and sisters, like, we just chose different paths. But I always wanted to like live vicarious. I want to carry on his legacy because he has children, right? And so we have to feed into the youth. And I think when he was murdered, I was going. My place of mourning was talking to people. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna like start a podcast. It really, in the middle of the night, I said, I'm gonna start a podcast, and I'm just gonna talk to people. I'm gonna talk to them about their struggles. I'm gonna use this as a platform to like express my pain and be vulnerable and be out there. And it took off like crazy. It took off like crazy. I didn't even understand. Like, I mean, my producer was calling me. He's like, you have 5,000 subscribers. I'm just like, wait, what? It's been like 6 weeks. How did that happen? But the power of like social media, right? And so my podcast, Walking Your Excellence, really at the end of every show I say, define who you are, follow your passion, speak your truth, be unapologetically you, and always remember to walk in your excellence. And I now have that tattooed on my arm because I believe those things. And it's the mantra that guides my life, and that I want everyone to truly believe, especially as Black people. Like, you are great. Discover who you are, be confident in that, follow your passion, live your truth, don't let anybody tell you that you aren't. And so every week we're in season 3 that's launching tomorrow. I'm really excited about that. Awesome, every show is just like, tell us your story, right? And like, that's it. And we just engage in a very authentic way. Like, these are very, very successful Black people who have made it in the world. I mean, DeRay McKesson, Dr. David Stovall, Killer Kurt, who I know was with you guys, like really great people who are doing great things. And these are the stories that aren't told, right? Like, what we see in our community is like the broadcast of like the shooting. What we see in our community is the dude getting locked up, right? And there's so much more. And those things, that's our reality, right? I'm not taking anything away from it. It is true. It's our reality. However, there are amazing Black people just here in New Jersey that are doing transformative work across this country, and those stories need to be told, and that's why the platform exists.
That is awesome. Congratulations for season 3 coming up.
Yeah,
I definitely got to tune into that, man.
Yeah.
Walking your excellence. That's awesome. Yeah. So what else do we got to look forward to, man? 2019, man. You're already on fire. So we already been seeing you going. Talk to me. What else you got in store?
What do I have in store? So this week, actually, I'm launching a team of Walking Your Excellence. So it's been me for the most part, and I'm hosting. I'm scared to announce this because now I got to commit to it. I'm hosting a Walking Your Excellence conference, an annual conference that's starting in the spring of 2020. So I got about 12 months to get this off the ground, and the idea just came from a couple of my friends who are doing really great conference stuff. And just bringing Black people together to share their excellence. So it's going to take a lot of planning, but that's like going to be my year project. And once that takes off, 5 years from now, I'm going to be like operating that and running a team, and that be my thing, and have employees and all that stuff. Working on the second book. I'm working on my first nonfiction book, which is on Black male leadership, perspectives of Black male leadership in contemporary America, post-Obama. And so just highlighting Black amazing leaders who are doing great things, Black men particularly. What else is there? The podcast, starting my YouTube channel. Everyone's been telling me to do it, and I'm just like, I don't have time. But I'm going to try to make time to get my YouTube channel up. And then just like progression in my education. I'm getting my doctorate right now. And so I graduate in 2021. I'll be Dr. Stevens, which is exciting.
That is on fire.
So those are the things in my next like 18 months. And then, those are the next 18 months. And then in about 2 years, I'll be 33. I'll be Dr. Stevens. I'll be doing a lot of shit.
That's gonna feel good.
Yeah, it does.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations, brother.
Appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. Tell them your social media, how they can follow you.
Yes. Go follow me everywhere at Formula22, Formula 22, and at Walking Your Excellence. My website is www.seanlarry.com.
Heard it here first, man. We are Dizzy Magazine. Sean Larry.
All right, y'all.
Jersey turned up entertainment. Entertainment.